All righty. First, welcome to our first I3 get together of the school year. Oh my gosh, we are so excited you are here. We are calling this a kickoff because we are spreading all of those positive vibes today. Hopefully, you feel it through the slide deck. Hopefully, you feel how excited we are to see your faces, even if we're not in the same room together. If you are a new I3 this year, we should probably start by introducing ourselves, maybe. I am Chelsea Cody, and then we have the rest of the DLT here. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Martine Brown, excited to come back for another year to get to work with everyone.
Hey guys, I'm Brian Dean, Digital Learning Facilitator. This is seriously the highlight of my week if I haven't said it already. So.
And I think I saw Angie pop in. I'm not sure, so we'll give her a second.
Hi, guys. Talk about a year for the books. We're so excited to kick off I3 with you guys and really rock it out virtually this year.
Yes. So first thing, if you don't have it, I want to make sure you have the link to the slide deck for today. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this in the chat. It is a template, but that's so that you can make your own copy, follow along as we're going today, put any notes you want to put in there. If you have questions you want to save for later, or even as we're going throughout today, you can ask those questions as well. And then if you didn't have a chance to fill out the I3 information, it's just some simple questions. It's okay if you don't want to share your Facebook or your Instagram, okay? We just want to ask things like, what's your Twitter handle? If you don't have one yet, you'll see why we love having those. And hopefully after today, you'll dive in. It took me a while, but once you're in, you're in. And we're going to just have a little bit of resources that we provided you in that template as well. So just like any good party, we're going to start off by playing a game. I'm going to drop a link in our chat for a quizzes. And I will tell you, there is going to be a prize for the top 3 elementary folks. No, Brian Dean, you cannot compete.
Well, I just wanted to say that I accidentally missed one. I'm embarrassed to say. And I'm old, but
I'm sure the person that designed it was a little tricky. Not sure.
Apparently.
Now, this is something that if you were playing with your students, you could use joinmyquiz.com and then give them the code. But I am dropping it in the chat since we're playing live. So we're going to play quizzes. Sometimes, even though we know some tech tools, like maybe you've already used quizzes before, it's always good to go back and review. Okay, and GimKit is no longer free, so we're going to use quizzes.
Bummer.
Even better. I know, right?
I'll have to talk to them.
Right. And I might even turn on some music while we're playing. Feel free to turn on your sound on this. Like if you want to unmute yourself so that we can hear your wonderful feedback when you get questions right or wrong, that is a-okay too. That just adds to the fun, if you will. Looks like we have 20 in and we've got about 30 people here. So I'm going to give you a little bit longer to join. This might be one of the biggest quizzes games I've played in a while. Lots of competition. Lots of competition.
When you were in middle school teaching, I'm sure you had this a lot, but we haven't done hardly any face-to-face trainings. Oh my gosh, since like January, February, something happened.
Was there a time in history where we actually got to be in rooms together and see people's faces? I don't remember that.
I don't. It's been a long winter.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start our game. And I think I'm gonna turn off my headphone so you guys can hear.
All right.
I really enjoy all the faces on this. I can tell when we're getting them right or wrong. Oh, Rax got the dance moves. Must be going good.
Yep.
I wish we were in class so we could be walking around and seeing everybody, their memes. That is one of my favorite parts of quizzes. Easily. Awfully amazing, Chad, or awfully that we're not doing so well on there. I did put some tricky questions.
You did. You tricked me on at least one.
Oh, Kelsey Ray's on fire. I wonder if you got a power up on there right now, Kelsey.
I know. Don't forget to use those if you get one. It makes the difference. I love everybody's Google Meet etiquette, you know, like back in like February, no one was muting themselves. Like it's like everyone is like, mute, turn off the camera.
Well, I like that I'm getting to see a lot of people's faces right now, especially for this, because even though I might not hear the side effects or sound effects,
You hear a side effect, there's something wrong.
Yeah, a little bit maybe. Okay, since we are wrapping that up, I will let you know that there will be winners. I'm gonna probably pull 3 from this group, but we'll talk about some of those questions here in just a second because I'm sure you want to know where they came from. All right, we got about 5 or 6 more seconds. Chad, no pressure on finishing yours up. I'd like to remove my name from the results. Well, Chad, your participation is what matters. While they are finishing up, I do want to tell you a little bit about the game. And you probably noticed that some of the questions I pulled from a Google form that you guys filled out. So one of the questions on the form was, where would you like to go on a trip? And so that Disney question was in there. And I'll let you know, I didn't have everybody's results. I think I had 60 out of the 78 I3s, which is a pretty good sampling. But I was able to look at that question. That is definitely something you could recreate with your students. Give them a little get to know you quiz, get it back, turn it into a quizzes. It's a fun way to build community between your students and you, and use a tool that you may be comfortable with already. And then this hyperlink that's down here is Quizzes has a bunch of different icebreaker examples that you could check out from their Twitter. So that's another little plug. Let's talk about why we're here today. Okay, to do our kickoff, we want to talk about what I3 is going to look like this year. If you've already seen the weekly updates that are coming out, that's something different than we have had in the past. Okay, we are providing those weekly updates for you because we know that you are seen as a tech advocate and somebody that your campus can come to for assistance with our new technology, especially Canvas, Google Apps, those kind of things. So in order to give you some support, but also not require extra of you, right now, that's the main thing that we're going to be having you send out to your campus. So the next one will come out tomorrow morning. And I won't provide any extra little guidance there. Really easy for you to forward on, delete the forward, add any extra information you need to. If your campus is taking that weekly update and maybe say putting it into a newsletter that your campus sends out or putting it onto a website, awesome. The main thing is that that information is being shared, and it's something that you're not having to create, that is coming to you. And then the other part of that campus support, which this is really where we're asking you to spend the bulk of your time this year, and even when we're transitioning, this is where you'll spend the bulk of your time, is providing that one-on-one PD or support whenever necessary. So if a PD situation comes up and you're like, I don't even know what to offer on this. I'm new to I3, or we're all new to Canvas and I don't have any ideas on what I should focus on, what I would train my staff on. You can always reach out to our digital learning team through our digital learning email, or you guys can reach out directly to me. I already have a lot of I3s that I'm communicating with almost on a daily basis. Okay, so if that's something that you need, if you need any kind of support, any kind of brainstorming, please reach out. And then this year, if you were in I3 last year, or if you've been in the district for a while, you may have heard the words cycle, skill, focus. Okay, well this year, our cycles are 9 weeks long. So we have moved to a monthly skill focus. Okay, so this past month was classroom management. So this is something you might have seen tips in the newsletter that are geared towards classroom management. And then coming up is our September, which is personalized learning. So even later in our training today, we'll talk about some tips for personalized learning. If you're thinking, man, my principal wants me to offer an hour-long PD, not sure what to cover, this is a document that you could use to look and get some ideas. Okay, so in September, if you're offering a PD, you could look at something for personalized learning. Just like as a teacher, you have standards that guide what you are teaching. You have a pacing calendar. This is kind of our standards and pacing calendar, if you will, built off of the ISTE standards, the online teaching standards, and then our digital citizenship from Common Sense. Okay, and then our next part, this is my favorite. Go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just gonna reiterate that the updates that you're sending, that they send, the I3 weekly updates, they don't need to also send the newsletter, because the newsletter already goes to all staff. So don't feel like you have to like resend that one. So the I3
and you guys are behind the curtain, so I'll say this to you. A lot of what I put in the weekly update, I also had in the newsletter, and sometimes it's also on the Canvas update and in a WAPE. So sometimes it's 4 different places, but emails get lost, overlooked, things like that. So might be just tweaked a little bit for each platform, but normally is the same information because it's that important. If you were to click on the I3 list and info, what I did is, if you were able to fill in the I3 information ahead of time, I compiled everybody's Twitter handles, what you said that you teach, and what campus you are at. So let's say you are a librarian at the elementary level. You could come in and look at the other librarians, so you could start working together on some lessons, start collaborating. Okay, we've also got first grade teachers, we've got self-contained, we've got departmentalized, but whatever you said was your position, and if you had a Twitter handle, those are on here. If you're on Twitter and you're looking to beef up who you're following, get some positive voices out there, people who are providing tech tips as well, these would be people that you could follow. And then you'll see there's also pages for it, if you're curious, middle school, our high school I3s, and then our digital learning team, and then our high school ready one-to-one coaches. And just like Martine said, you can use that hashtag GISD I3. And that is one that we follow, so that we will see that as well. We will be having GISD chat coming up, but I will provide more information to you once that date is finalized, and we'll invite you guys to participate. But again, we are transitioning, so there's not a requirement with that. There might be an invitation for the first couple, and then when we come back together, we'll talk about where we're moving to next. Speaking of places of support, okay, I have hyperlinked to a couple of my favorite websites here because they are created by the digital learning team. So the first one is our digital learning team website. Okay, this has all of our programs, all of our information. So you saw a couple of the questions from the quizzes were actually about this website. Okay, we update a lot of our information here, so it's easy for teachers to get to. Okay, and you can pull information from that to use in your PD, tips that you're giving out to your campus, the same. We also just started releasing a podcast. Okay, and if you don't like listening to it, you can also watch it. It is basically a 20 to 30 minute webinar, if you will, with 5 fast tips, sometimes 4, sometimes more than 5. But we're calling them the fast 5 because that will be the average. Brian brings his cold brew. I bring my flannel, and Martine brings her water because she doesn't drink coffee. Okay, and Angie will be joining us soon. Okay, so we've got our fast 5. If you haven't checked those out, really easy episodes that you can watch, send out to your staff. We walk through 5 tips, and you can also look at timestamps on there. So let's say if a teacher didn't want to watch all 5, they just needed one thing, the new Google Apps LTI, click on that, watch that. And then Brian already talked about the DLT newsletters, but if you have teachers that have missed them, or if you're looking for tips yourself that you could share, they're all archived on our website. So after they get sent out, I put them up on the website. And I am also putting your weekly updates on our website as well under the I3 page. So all of those updates, they get sent to you. I upload the Google Doc to our website. Everything is there. And then this is my favorite part of this page because I don't want to miss you for too long. So on September 15th and 16th, we're going to have optional, that is the key word, optional, bold, underlined, highlighted, optional I3 office hours. Here's what those will look like. If you want to come pop in anytime between 1 and 2, say you want to repeat and come back also between 3 and 4, cool. You can come and ask any question of our team. Let's say you have a PD coming up and you want some tips for planning that PD. You want to bounce it off of us. Maybe you are a project goal mentor and you're mentoring a teacher and you would like to know an extension that does X, Y, and Z. Can we walk through it together? You could definitely bring that up during those office hours. They're going to be come and go and stay as you'd like. But these are specifically just for I3s. So just for you guys because of all the support that you are providing. So those 2 days at those 2 times. I don't know if we had any questions because I saw the chat buzzing, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Martine. And if there were questions in the chat, I'll answer those while she is chit-chatting.
No questions, just a little extra support and some very kind shout outs for Fast 5. We're excited about keeping you up to speed on all of the great things that are happening with the updates with Canvas. Seems like we learn about 1 or 2 every couple of days. So and we know you guys are more than aware. Oh, Chelsea, will you present or do you want me to present? I wasn't sure about that.
I can totally present. Let me pull it back up because I got it up. Slowly working its way. Good to go?
Yep, got it. So we're going to talk a little bit about just some virtual PD tips. We know that you guys have been being asked to present, to provide small little webinars or 30-minute trainings. And if you haven't, you might be asked to do that in the coming weeks. So we want to just provide just a few tips, some things that we've learned along the way that have really helped our processes and have helped our coaches as well. The first thing I want to talk about is preparing some canned chat responses. This is probably one of my favorite tips because it's a huge time saver. So, oftentimes when you get into the training that you're about to give, you can be a little nervous. You got little pieces you're trying to put together, but having a list of things that you want to go out into the chat, copying and pasting them and then dropping them into the chat just kind of puts that process at ease. Also, if there are specific resources that you want to be pushed out at specific times during your training, you can drop those there. So what you're looking at is our example, but we've also created a template for you. And if you're having to do attendance, you can drop attendance links. If you're having You know, we record our webinars. So, you know, any information that you feel is relevant to your group, we want to put it on here, and then you just copy and paste it as needed. Seems like it's really just a simple concept, but it really is a time saver. And then if you click on that template in your presentation, it should be there. If it's not, we'll make sure that you get it. But there's a template that you can actually copy and use for your own resources. So that's my first tip. The second thing I want to talk about, in addition to that, having the canned responses, is simply moderating, having a moderator. A moderator can be anyone that you choose, and really they're doing kind of what Brian and I have been doing, just kind of keeping that dialogue going on, if possible, answering questions. They could be the ones that their sole responsibility is just dropping in those canned responses at strategic times. So I highly recommend having someone just, and it really could be another I3 you guys can pair up, especially when it's virtual. You don't have to be on the same campus, and just provide that additional support so that as a presenter, you're not having to try to navigate the face-to-face, the virtual portion, and the chat at the same time. My next tip would be just to gamify a portion of your PD, especially when those PDs are much longer, 45 minutes, hour-long PDs. You know, in the virtual world, we know that this can be quite daunting to spend that much time in one sitting on the screen. So think about having those just short ways to start, or short little brain breaks in between. Maybe do a brain break and a potty break if it's a long period of time with adult learners. What you're looking at is a memory game that comes out of Genially. And essentially you would go through each slide, and you would try to remember what was on the slides. I thought that was a great one. And I'll tell you the truth, all I had to do was go to Genially, make a template, and I was done. So it's a real simple way to just kind of break up your training into smaller pieces if you're having much longer training. Another option is the Canvas scavenger hunt. Okay. And so we know many of you are diving into Canvas, or are well deep into Canvas at this point. And this is another way to kind of do some PD. Yes, we're talking about Canvas, but this really could be any tool. You would create a set of clues, and then based on those clues, your participants would then go and look through the platform, the app, the program, and try to find the answers and put them into a Google form. So again, this is another way for training to be a little bit more interactive, a little bit more collaborative, and just a way to kind of turn PD on its head so it's not all sit and get. And then my last virtual PD tip is just, provide a choice board. And if time, because I know all of our schedules are quite busy, do a choice board where each category or each box represents a different tool or a different piece of research, whatever you need for the topic. But then on a Padlet, in a collaborative Canvas course, create a discussion board where collectively as a group, you could talk about the resources that have been made available. And, what did you try? What tool did you try from the choice board? Did it work? Did it not work? What kinks? To really get that asynchronous dialogue going. And because with the choice board plus a discussion thread, because you've got that asynchronous section, you don't have to worry about, having to have that face-to-face meeting while still having good quality training happening amongst your group. So those are my virtual PD tips. Let us know if you have any questions, and if the template's not attached to, if the canned chat response, if it's not attached, I will drop it in the chat.
Thank you so much, Martine. And I will say, because I just noticed looking at the Canvas scavenger hunt, even things are updating with Canvas day by day by day. So even the pair deck slide that's in there would need to be updated. So there's just, little things that even when we created that, I don't know how many weeks was that ago, 3? not
Yep.
even 3 ago. You know,
Yep.
things are updating on a daily basis. So having something to go to build from is hopefully going to be very beneficial for you guys.
And you guys will not hurt our feelings if something updates and you notice it and we haven't noticed it and you shoot us an email. We will not get mad. We will be like,
Brian says he won't get mad, but he only gets mad in the closet. There's like, you know, we've got this little closet in our digital alley. And so he just hides in there and gets mad and then he comes out.
Yeah, thanks for that, Chelsea.
All made up. That's not real. He does not get mad.
I
don't think I've seen you mad the whole time we've worked together. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. All lies. Okay, so I'm going to talk about, I wanted to bring up the monthly skill focus. So like Chelsea said, today is all about us equipping you, right? And when we meet again for like our official think tank, for those of y'all that are returning, you know what a think tank is. For those of y'all that are new, it's kind of what we would deem our training. So this is a kickoff, okay? But we have to give you some tidbits. Like we have to give you some actionable training that you can share. So I'm excited to get to do this. So September, our monthly skill focus is personalized learning, okay? So the ISTE standard for that is empowered learner. Students taking an active role in their own learning goals. But then with the NSQ online teaching standard, it's assessment and measurement. So I want to share something in Canvas. Okay, why not do Canvas since that's what we're all doing right now, right? So let's talk about a way that you can personalize some instruction inside of Canvas. Just so you know, this is recorded, so don't feel like you have to, oh, dang it, I got to go to Canvas and like follow along with Brian every step. It is recorded, and also I put it here on the slide deck, but also there are guides as well to what I'm showing. So there is a concept inside of Canvas as a learning management system called prerequisites, okay, or requirements. In some other LMSs, they might be called setting conditionals that students have to do, and based on that conditional, something else will open up, okay? So I want to talk a little bit about how this looks in Canvas. So you can see a screenshot here, which I'm going to jump to my course in a second, but this is a module inside of Canvas, and I've set a prerequisite that a student must complete this assignment before they can take the quiz, and then after they take the quiz, then the next module will open. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions, put them in the chat. Chelsea, Martine, Angie would be happy to help. But this, and then I'm going to show you in just a second how you can individualize some of that instruction. Okay, so prerequisites, they require students to complete a module before going on to the next module, whereas requirements require students to complete certain things inside a module. Okay, as for example, the quiz, that's inside a module there. Okay, all right, so I'm going to hop over to Canvas, and let me know for some reason, I think I'm still sharing my screen, but let me know if it kind of went away or not. So I have just kind of a sample course here, so I'm going to go to assignments, or I lied, going to modules. We're still learning, okay? So here I have a module set up for geometry, okay? So I have several different things going on in module 1. I have an introduction, an exploration activity. You can see that's not really worth any points at all. Then I have an activity here for them to do that's 1 point, and then a quiz. And then down here I have this kind of ongoing instruction to continue on. I'm gonna collapse this one here at the bottom. So I'm going to set a prerequisite that before they go to module 2, they have to finish module 1. So you do that by clicking here on the 3 dots on to the right of the module and clicking edit. Okay, and then you've probably seen this, right, as you're adding in modules and you've never really done anything with it. Okay, you're going to click on add a prerequisite, and I'm selecting that first module that I want them to finish before they go on to the next module. So I update it. You're going to get this pop up, and that's okay. It's going to say, hey, your requirements for this course has changed. If you already have students that are in the course, in this case, I don't, but it's letting you know, hey, do you want them to have to go back and go through this again or not? If so, you can click relock modules and it will make those students go through this again, okay? Or you can click continue, which is what I'm gonna do, and just set it for everyone. So now you can see that there is a prerequisite set for this module. So now I'm gonna turn my attention up to module 1, points, lines, and planes, okay? Now you'll notice that I already built this course out. You don't need to set up prerequisites or requirements as you go. You can build out your entire course and then go back and do it, which I really like that. So again, you're gonna click on the 3 dots and you're gonna click edit. This time, you're gonna click a requirement, okay? And students must complete all of these requirements. So first, I want them to view the instructions, okay, of course. Then I'm gonna click add a requirement, and I want the students to do the exploration activity. But instead of just viewing the item, I want them to actually have to mark that they did it, to mark as done, okay? Then I'm gonna add another requirement that they do the tier 1 lesson, big ideas lesson, okay? And this one, they're gonna have to actually submit the assignment. You can see the options you have are view, mark as done, submit, or score at least. And I'll show you what that looks like on the quiz. So submit the assignment. And last but not least, you guessed it, I want them to take the quiz. And on this one, they must score at least, we'll say 3 points out of 4, okay? So I have set 1, 2, 3, 4 requirements in order for the students to move on past this module. I'm gonna click update module. I get that same message, and I'm just gonna say continue. So now you can see that it tells you, hey, right here, they have to mark it as done. This one, they have to submit it. And this one, they have to have a certain score, okay? So I'm gonna hop up to the home page, and I'm gonna click on student view and just let you kind of see what it looks like from their side, okay? So they're gonna click to start their learning, and see it tells them you need to complete these items so they can start on the instructions. And obviously you want them to go in here first, but I'm gonna show you what this mark is done looks like. When they get in here and they do the activity, they can just click mark as done. And that tells the system that they did it, because there's nothing that they have to turn in on this one. And then they can mark it as, they can unmark it as done. All right, so I'm gonna leave student view. So guys, let me hop back over and let me show you the next kind of where you could start personalizing it. There's a button right here called view progress. Okay, so this is where you can start looking at those individual students and how they're progressing through your course. If I click on it, I have no students here, right? So I'm gonna hop back over to the slide deck, which I'm sure some of you are already looking at. Past my fancy arrows flying in. Okay, so viewing the student's progress allows you to track their progress through the modules. Just so you know, I don't think it really works if there's no requirements or prerequisites set. But when you do, you're gonna see your students, and you can click on a student's name, and then you can get that progress for that student. I'm not gonna read everything here on the slide verbatim, but basically you can see if they're in progress, it means they either haven't started or they're working on it. Or if something is locked, that doesn't mean it's locked for you. It means the student hasn't done the requirement in order to unlock that activity or lesson or whatever it is. So then based on this progress, you can make personalized learning decisions and craft lessons for them. And that's really it on this part. And I think it's going to go nicely into what Martine is about to share. If there's any questions in the chat, I'll be happy to take those while Martine is talking. I'll stop presenting.
Brian, go ahead, Martine. I was going to say this is going to be recorded too. So just like Brian said, that's fast, it's furious, but it's recorded. So you can go watch it again as many times as you need.
Yeah. Brian, it's kind of funny. After we had this discussion about the prereqs, I ended up I have a daughter that's a kindergartner, and her music teacher is using the workflow with the view And it was so nice to be able to go through all of her music lesson for the week. And then when she got to the very end, her last thing to do was to kind of go over the skills she had learned, and then she clicked done and she was done. So I will say, you know, if you have a lot of content, they really need to touch on all of them. On the student side, it's really nice for them to be able to, their requirement to be that they view it all, then do the thing. It was nice. I was like, okay, this is great. So I do want to lift that teacher up because she did a great job with that.
Yeah, guys, I want to reiterate too before I hand it over to Martine. What I just showed you guys could be maybe a little much. You may be sitting here thinking about some of your teachers, and that's true. Okay, you guys know your teachers and who's maybe ready for something, right? And ready to share this. But if you get asked to share, you know, maybe a Canvas, even like a 10, I mean, I did that in, I think, 7 minutes, right? So this could be something that you guys could share with people who maybe you're looking for something a little bit extra in Canvas right now. So thanks.
All right. So I know we, you know, every year it seems like we talk about Flipgrid, but man, they just keep coming back with more and more and more that's applicable to the work that we do. So I do want to take some time to talk a little bit about shorts and some of the updates and this idea of personalizing your responses to students, whether it be doing kind of like what DLT does, where we have a Flipgrid help topic and it's moderated so no one sees anyone's answers. But we use that space to allow folks to come in, ask their questions, and then we can send video feedback back. And so using shorts, you can kind of add some extra layers to that and really personalize how you communicate back to your students. I'm going to show you just a few things. I have just fallen in love with some of the updates. So in Flipgrid, I'm going to click on shorts. Then I'll select record a video. Hold on 1 second. I've got several cameras, so give me a moment to get these cameras straightened out.
Yeah, so while she's doing that, I'm just kind of thinking, let's say you had one of those prereqs or required modules, and you could see, like, based on the student's progress, hey, they really need some support in an area, right? You could come in here and do what she's about to show you. Hey, create a quick Flipgrid short and then go directly embed it in Canvas and just give it to that one kid. So just kind of, okay, Martine's got it going here.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that my cameras were working appropriately. So exactly what Brian was saying. We want to, give them that personalized, so that when I click on options, the first thing I want to talk about is this flipped mirror concept. So especially in the lower levels, when you're working with kids, and let's say you want them to read the book, and just using the straight up camera from your Chromebook, those letters are probably going to be flipped. So when I click, let's see, I don't know if you guys can see that. So not on our Meet calendar, not the Meet camera, but sometimes when we're working in just the straight camera by itself, like on the Chromebook, the letters can be flipped. So it's probably looking correct. But if you click on this mirror option, if you notice my background is flipping, so you've got that. That was at least new to me. You can also upload clips from other places if you want to, but here's where it gets really cool. So when we start talking about the effects, you can add filters, right? You can even completely blur yourself out, which I really like. Some other options that you have is you can change some of the frames, which I really liked. It seems like half the kids are really into the unicorns right now. So if you have a student that's like a unicorn aficionado, the whole room's covered, how nice would it be to give them a response? And you've got that unicorn at the bottom. I think you'll win a few extra tickets with them. You got a student that's really into marine life. Adding just those small touches brings them in and lets students know that, hey, she sees me. She, I didn't just fill out the get to know you form. She actually looked at it and she's actually putting it into, or he or she is actually putting it into our work. So there are not a ton, but there are a couple. All right, clear frame. Okay. And then there's this other option. This one has been here a while, but look at this. When I click on split screen, I can actually split my screen. Oh, there, I might need to move over. And then when I split my screen, when I go to write or draw, I can do that right next to me talking through the concepts. So I thought that this was a really good way. A lot of students need to see you, or you might even want that combination of them being able to see you and you writing down the concepts or talking through the concepts. So this is another way to kind of add that extra level of personalized instruction. Here's another cool thing. You can add your own photos. So, maybe a frame doesn't match your students' interests, but you can embed a picture that aligns with their interests. So you really can, do a lot. They call these custom stickers. So you could add stickers that literally are aligned to your students' interests. And then my last little tip with this, what I learned is, I haven't even started recording, but I was already able to draw. So you could lay out all of your content, your drawings, your text, whatever it is you want to do. You can lay it all out on the whiteboard first, or they've got the dots, they've got the grid, they've got notebook paper. Like, you have tons of options. You can lay all this out and then record, or you can do it live. So you have an option there. There's tons of just ways you can personalize your experience one-on-one with your students in a way that I think will keep them coming back. And I'll take any questions. If we have any, I'll take them in the chat, but I'm going to stop presenting.
And Martine, we did have a good question that I'll kind of clarify as I'm pulling out my presentation. Shorts are called shorts because they are separate from using Flipgrid as a grid. So when we have our help topic, we use the Flipgrid camera, and you can actually record your screen. So I can do a screen recording. I can pause it, show my face, screen record, and it's really easy to edit together those clips. Like, it kind of edits it together for you anyways. It's called a short just because it is separate from being connected to a grid or a topic. So it's just kind of another additional thing that you have. Students can do all of those things when they're recording responses to you. And I know that you are here for a full hour in training, but that hour has flown by. I don't know if that is true for you guys, but I wish we had even longer together. Just wanted to provide you with a couple of important information tips and dates. So first thing is, we're going to have Think Tank. What it's going to look like, we'll find out as we go, because every day's changing a little bit. But just to get it on your radar, it will be the week of October 19th through the 23rd. Okay. Might have a couple of synchronous activities, might be some asynchronous activities. Brian Dean might even wear flannel and have cold brew. It could happen. It could happen. Who knows? He might sing Stevie Nicks for us again. It could happen. Who knows? Okay. Martine might wear her fembo. I hope so. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Lady Sweet Pea, okay, Angie's puppy will join us. It could happen. These are maybe all things that I hope happen every day. So I'm putting them out in the universe. And now that it's recorded and it's going to go to the other I3s, it could happen. Anyways, week of 19th to the 23rd, just have in mind there will be something, a larger training. This is more of our kickoff, but there will be some kind of training, something having to do with our monthly focus tips, something having to do with your I3 responsibilities as we're transitioning. And then again, the September 15th and 16th dates, optional. optional. I3 office hours. Okay. I'm also always ready to jump on a meet with you guys. So if there's something you need like ASAP before the 15th, shoot me an email. We'll hop on a Google Meet. Might even come visit you. Whatever you need for us to support you, just let me know. Okay, reach out to us. We're very accessible. And then those of you that are new to the program and you have devices, or if you're returning and you have your i3 devices, okay, that would be the Sphero and the Chromebook. Those are now going to be part of your campus inventory. So if you have somebody that was the i3 on your campus last year and you haven't gotten those materials yet, you could check with your CTA. Maybe they're in their classroom from last year. Maybe they were already given to them. They could be turned over to you. We will also be talking with your CTAs more about that. So just in case you had questions about your devices, and I think that is all that I had as far as our information. Do you guys have any questions? Could be things on your campus. I'm chunking out 15 minutes here that you can shoot away your questions with us.
This is like a Reddit AMA, right? Ask me anything.
I'm glad you clarified what that was because I totally knew what AMA stood for off the top of my head.
I'm just going to clarify and say Brian said ask him anything.
I might start having technical interference if the question gets too awkward.
There's a great
chat.
Yeah,
go ahead, Martine.
There's a great question in the chat about how to record classes without showing students in the video. For the post recording.
Chad, let's talk. So like obviously right now that we're recording here, it's recording everyone in the chat. So there's really not a way to take them out of a Meet recording. It's going to get tricky without secondary devices that I don't think that we have, to record. I would probably do mini lessons. So like either here, like we're doing now, just maybe without students. But then if you absolutely have to, maybe you could tell the kids to turn off their cameras if you absolutely needed to record or, to record something. But I know that is something that is a need out there. So we'll definitely kind of put our heads on that.
I wanted to clarify this as well, Brian. We're getting a couple more questions about the Chromebook and the Sphero. Yes, at the end of the year, we communicated with you to give them to your CTA. They could be salvaged. We're kind of in this transition of a couple of different things. So if they've already been turned in, they're already salvaged, you have your teacher Chromebook, you're good to go. Awesome. If you haven't and they're still on your campus to be checked out to you, also great. We will be touching back on these. There may be more information coming about this when we meet for our think tank. Okay. Just giving you a solution in the meantime. I don't know if that answers all of those questions. If you have your teacher Chromebook, I will say this. If I had to choose between the new teacher Chromebook and the i3 Chromebook, I would choose the new teacher Chromebook, and I would get an extra sticker from i3 from winning a game or something, and I would put that on something. Not my teacher Chromebook, but that is the only difference is i3 Chromebook is old compared to your teacher Chromebook, and it doesn't have the i3 sticker. That's really the only difference. I hope that explains what's going on there. Yes, Tralisha, you should keep using your nifty i3 computer bag. They are very cute. Okay, well, if you guys do not have any more questions, great question, Stevie. I don't have a whole lot of guidance to provide on that right now because we have not heard what that's going to look like in the classrooms. But if you did see, it was announced that elementary schools are having iPads purchased for them. So I will tell you on my support, when I'm working with you guys and when I'm working with teachers, I'm really keeping in mind that things need to be accessible on both the Chromebook and mobile devices. So if I'm talking about Seesaw or something like that, I'll make sure that teachers are already getting used to seeing what things look like from a mobile device and on the Chromebook. Martine, did you want to add some on there?
Yeah, and Steve, if I'm understanding your question right, you might have some concerns about the sharing part. My understanding is that direction on sharing, because it's more than just you have pencils, papers, markers, scissors, all the things. I would check in with your admin and see there should be some processes in place that they'll be talking to you about as far as how to designate what's clean, what's not clean, and how to move those things within your classroom. So I would check in with them and see what their guidance is. Brian, do you see that note? Etheridge is she mentioned Loom is another possibility because it just records just the teacher's face and nothing else.
Okay, great. They say it's free. Cool, thanks.
I'm going to go ahead and click stop recording.